So the QL, we've got the front QL, the side QL, and the back QL. It is quite a large muscle. We're gonna start on the front QL first. So the block's gonna go above your hip bone, below your rib cage, and you're gonna be laying face down. So let's lay face down. You're gonna take the smaller block. And again, if you want more surface area, you use the logo side. If you want less surface area for the front QL, you might need to use the smaller side, just so that we're not hitting bone here. And it's gonna slide right into the front QL. Yep, really nice. So above the hip bone, below the rib cage. Yep, really nice, right about there. Now, if just laying down creates enough pressure, and if it is intense, you can hang out on the forearms for a moment before you work your way down. If you need more pressure, you would open up that right hip into that little half frog position. Yep, and that would just give you some more pressure right into that front QL. Okay, it shouldn't feel like it's hitting your bone here, so we're thinking right above the hip bone, right below the rib cage. There's a tiny little section called the QL here. And you can see she has it on a tiny little bit of an angle, and that's totally okay. It doesn't need to be completely horizontal here. It can go on a tiny bit of an angle where the outer part of the block is up and then the inner part is just angled slightly down. All right, first thing we're doing here is just your breaths. Now, since we have some tactile pressure here in the belly, I really want you to focus on your belly breath to start. So as you inhale, I want you to think about your belly rising up off the block. And as you exhale, we're going to try to think about letting your body fall down onto the block as far as it can. It's definitely not going to be easy at first, especially expanding the diaphragm into the pressure. But as you do this more and more, we're going to strengthen the breath, we're going to strengthen the diaphragm all at once. Now our movements here are actually going to be really similar to the quad position. So you're going to start with that left heel just bending and extending. So slowly bending in and then extending all the way out nice and slow. Now again, within this movement, you can always go back to stillness. The movement is a means of searching for tight spots. But once you find one of those tight spots, I want you to hang out onto it, breathe into it, try not to move through it too quickly. The body really loves to move through those tight spots very quickly. The second movement here is same thing as the quad. We'll come up to that 90 degrees. And then you're going to go through that little windshield wiper. Okay, so the heel will come out towards me and then in towards that other leg. Our hip rotation is really, really closely associated with this front QL. So as she moves her leg into that internal and external rotation, she should feel more pressure create in different parts of the block. As the heel goes in, she'll start to feel more pressure on that inner part. And as her heel rotates out towards me, she should feel more pressure towards that side body. I like to spend a little bit of time in rotation. And then the hardest one, same thing as our quad position, would be that full circle. So when you think about moving the heel in the full circle, you get the bend and the extend and the rotation kind of all put into one. It's going to feel very natural, but at the same time should feel more intense than some of the other positions. And when I do the QL, I usually love to start with the front QL first, then moving to the side, and then moving to the back. You don't have to do it this way, especially as you get more and more into your practice, but this is how I find that it opens up the best. Normally, if we're on the left front QL, I go to the left side and then the left back. But for video purposes, we are gonna, as you go onto your side body, we're actually gonna switch to your other side, Phoebe. So let's go right into side body here. So normally she would just roll away from me and go into that left QL, but for video's sake, let's just go right into your other side. So you're gonna face me. That little block is gonna go right into that space as well. It's gonna be more intense on the side. And same thing, let's get that other pillow kind of, yeah, right in that neck space. Perfect. Okay, you can see her legs aren't all the way straight. She's got that little bend that's gonna help her stay nice and balanced through this position. Now, no movement with this position. Your hand can stay on the side. If you feel like you need more stability, that hand can come to the mat and the ground. It doesn't need to, but it can if you feel like you need some more stability. It's really whatever feels best. So she's got the block above her hip bone, below her rib cage in that tiny little section. And again, this is part of where the diaphragm expands. So it's gonna feel uncomfortable to take that full belly breath. But as you do this practice more and more, the diaphragm is going to get stronger. It's going to get easier to do this breath. As you inhale, I want you to think about your body expanding away from the block. And then as you exhale, your body is going to collapse down towards the block as much as it can. All right, we're always going in through the nose, out through the nose. And we're thinking about longer exhales than inhales. This really helps relax the rest of the body. Our goal is to get into the most relaxed position as possible so that we can create that compression and use our breath to heat up our body from the inside using that belly breath, and from the outside with that external pressure where the block is on the body. All right, just a reminder, we're spending 1 to 3 minutes in each position. Our goal is 3 minutes, with that first minute being completely relaxed and that second 2 minutes being where we can explore a tiny bit of movement. There's not too much movement that can happen in this particular position, but if you do take your hand to the ground and just take that hand right to the ground, and if you think about your chest and your hips thinking about collapsing more down towards the ground, what you're going to do is kind of bridge between the side QL and the front QL. So it gets that tiny little rock. Our body weight is guided through our hips and our chest. So if she thinks about driving her hips and chest down towards the ground, she's gonna feel a little bit more pressure towards that front QL. And if she thinks about opening her chest and her hips up towards the sky, it's gonna lead her more into that back QL where we're going next. And before I go to the back QL, I want you to, just explore that back kind of transition from the side to the back. There can be some tightness in these little transition spots, so not all the way in the side, not all the way in the back, but that little rotation that you find here. So you can see she's pressing her hand down into the ground, and then she's slowly opening up her chest and her hips towards the sky. That creates a little bit more body weight pressure towards the back QL. Good, really nice. All right, let's round it off with the back QL. So we're gonna reposition. Let's take the block out just for a moment and go right into your back position. So you're gonna go into your facing up position. Yep, get your pillows all situated where you'd like them. Good. Legs are gonna stay bent, and she's just gonna slide the block right into that back QL. So again, it's gonna be above the hip bone, below the rib cage, and not all the way to the spine, right? We don't want the block hitting the spine, just kind of tiny bit off to the side. Good. Keep the legs both bent, and then I want you to, same thing like we did with the piriformis with that glute one, the opposite heel is gonna dig to the ground, and then that right inner thigh is slowly gonna drop down towards the ground. As that hip opens down towards the ground, she's just gonna get more pressure into that back QL. Now again, this is one where your diaphragm it's gonna have a harder time breathing into this position, the block right into that low back kind of inhibits its ability to fully expand. But I want you to use that tactile pressure to try to expand your body away from the block on your inhale, and then slowly letting it relax down onto the block as much as it can on your exhale. We're at our first minute nice and still. And then our second and third minute, we can play around with that left inner thigh, coming more down towards the right inner thigh. That's how we would create some more pressure. The closer the knees get together, the more pressure she's going to get. So going nice and slow, always keeping that left inner thigh, that left heel nice and pressed down into the ground so that we've got some good stability on the opposite hip happening. That's going to help that right QL to get nice and relaxed. All right, and we'll end off there. So that was our front, side, and back QL.